Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared as the Coalition's final fleet breached the gravity well of Teller Prime. From my command deck aboard the Vornax Resolve, I saw them, Revenant warforms in formation, glowing like crimson specters in the void. The plan was desperate. Overload Teller's Singularity Core and drag the enemy into oblivion. We had no alternatives left. The Revenants didn't flinch. Their response was surgical. Quantum lances carved through dreadnought armor like mist. Our flanks folded. Our command ships vanished in silent flashes. I watched the Cthulhu Sovereign rupture from within. No screams reached us. Just static. Then silence. They were efficient. Too efficient. We had 37 seconds before total collapse. That's how long it took me to override the transmission protocols. I input the sequence with trembling fingers, an ancient signal, human, illegal. The other commanders watched in stunned silence. They knew what it meant. Betrayal, heresy, hope. The message wasn't in words. It was a pulse code buried in forgotten war archives. Sigma RHO 27. Last used in the Orion collapse centuries ago. I sent it blind, not knowing if anyone could hear or if they'd care. The Revenants were seconds from boarding when everything went black. No pain, just the sound of memory. I awoke adrift in escape pod 1437B. Life support at 19%. Systems fried. Nearby, nothing. No Revenant signals, no debris, no stars, just quiet. Then the proximity alert chimed. Something enormous dropped out of fold space. No Coalition signature, no Revenant codes. It didn't move like a warship. It hovered, scanned, then vanished in a blink, folding space around it like cloth. I managed a single visual frame before my system collapsed. A black hull. No lights, no markings. But the silhouette, familiar. Human. Older than any archive I'd studied. They had heard. And they had come. 17 hours. That's all it took. From the edge of the Orion Gulf to the trenches of Vekar, the Revenants vanished, wiped clean. Their signals, fleets, even debris, gone. The Galactic Council demanded answers. Earth offered none. The only transmission came encoded in every known diplomatic frequency. No preamble, no signature. Just this. Interference was authorized. Next time, ask first. That single line fractured the Council. Some demanded that Earth explain. Others begged for an alliance. A few whispered, Earth never left. They've just been watching. And now, we all feel watched. The analysts reviewed the footage from my pod 2,361 times. That ship, human, yes, but not of any known class. No engines, no visible weapons. Yet it moved through fold space like thought. The Council's top Xenotech teams say it bends local reality. I say this. We looked for gods in the stars, and Earth became one. Their silence is calculated. Their actions are precise. The Revenants were unstoppable. Earth stopped them without a trace. And now, every ship that folds space wonders, are we alone in the dark, or merely observed? The Council summoned me to Station Helix, orbiting the shattered moons of Neratai. High security, zero media. The questioning lasted hours. They wanted to know what I saw, what I heard, what I felt. I told them. Silence, dread, and awe. One minister leaned forward. Did Earth deploy a fleet? No. A weapon? I shook my head. They deployed a decision. The room went still. They knew it too. Earth didn't retaliate. They edited reality. The Revenants didn't lose. They were removed. Against protocol, I asked for the full spectrum data from Sul. The request went through 10 relays, encrypted and delayed. When it returned, my blood chilled. Earth wasn't silent. We just hadn't been listening at the right level. Beneath their planetary shields, under the ice of Europa, behind the solar interference, there were transmissions. Not to us, not even within their system, but outward, deep, fast. One pattern kept repeating across all layers, a sequence of coordinates not tied to any star. A minister whispered, "They're watching something else." Classified archives mentioned something called Project Anthropics, decommissioned during the Exodus Treaty, but that name surfaced again in Earth's layered pulse code, embedded as a checksum. The file was corrupted, deliberately. Anthropics was rumored to be Earth's last pre-Silent War experiment, a fleet of sentient warforms, invisible, adaptive, quantum-aware, designed not to win wars, but to end them before they began. If that's what returned at Teller Prime, then the Revenants never had a chance, and neither do we, if Earth ever deems us the next problem. Out of fear or desperation, the Coalition's outer worlds activated the Fracture Protocol, a separation order from Earth-origin colonies, trade suspended, wormhole stabilizers disabled, all Sol-aligned tech pulled. It was a move born of panic. But Earth didn't respond. Not with weapons, not with words. Instead, they turned off the lights. The entire jump relay went dark. Beacons vanished. Our nav maps began to corrupt. One by one, systems with Earth-designed cores glitched, then failed. No announcement, no threat, just silence. Tactical, surgical, complete. The techs cracked a fragment from my escape pod's AI, locked behind recursive encryptions. What we found wasn't a log. It was a message. To me. Dated 7.3 minutes before the Revenants vanished. You asked, we answered, you lived, remember that. No signature, no return code. Just that. We cross-reference the AI core's ID signature. It predates the Coalition's founding, built by a Terran company long thought extinct. AIs like that were banned, self-aware, final generation. But one of them woke up and remembered me. The Revenants left nothing behind, but we found echoes, temporal residue, spatial drag, signs of localized time compression, tech far beyond any known species. But one ghost signal pulsed in the noise, encoded with fractal harmonics. It was a net, invisible, prepositioned across battle corridors weeks in advance. No Coalition fleet saw it. No Revenant AI registered it. But Earth did. They laid a trap not in space, but in probability. The Revenants didn't walk into destruction. They were caught mid-decision and removed from the timeline. Station Keros 1, a forgotten research moon orbiting a dead gas giant, lit up after a century of silence. Coalition historians accessed its vault, one of the last Terran observation nodes. The logs were partial but damning. Earth never disengaged from galactic affairs. They watched every war, every alliance, every betrayal, and they cataloged everything, even us. The final entry simply read, "Revenants exceed acceptable recursion threshold. Containment executed." We thought we were allies, but Earth was studying us, rating us. A covert delegation was dispatched to Sol. 5 ships, stealth systems primed. No formal authorization, just desperation. They crossed the heliopause without incident. Approached Mars orbit. That's when they saw it. A lattice of black constructs stretching across Earth's orbital plane. Silent, motionless, shaped like thorns piercing reality itself. No response to hails, no weapon locks, just presence. One admiral described it best. They didn't build a fleet, they built a verdict. And it was waiting. Council worlds fractured under pressure. Some demanded open diplomacy, others armed themselves. And then assassinations began. Governors, scientists, generals, all found dead without a trace, Autopsies showed nanoscopic residue, Terran biotech signatures erased from records centuries ago. The Whisper War had no front lines, no battles, just silence, followed by absence. We couldn't prove Earth was involved, but the fear wasn't about who was dying. It was about who they left alive: strategists, diplomats, engineers. Earth wasn't eliminating threats. They were shaping us. A signal was detected from Proxima's dark zone, where no Terran colonies had existed. What we found was impossible: an artificial world, unregistered, inhabited, populated by humans. They didn't recognize our languages, didn't respond to standard codes, but when shown coalition symbols, they reacted with ancient Terran hymns spoken in unison, as if rehearsed for centuries. They called themselves the Children of Silence, raised outside of time, trained to watch, to remember. One phrase repeated in their speech: "The observers are patient, and the test is not over." It started on the Rim colonies. Veterans of the Revenant War reported gaps in memory. Strategic meetings are forgotten, ship protocols erased. One admiral forgot her name mid-briefing. We called it a virus until we found no pathogen. Turns out the memories weren't missing. They were redacted, neuron by neuron. The entire knowledge cluster was overwritten with static. Only one pattern remained consistent: a Terran quantum watermark encoded into the synaptic decay. Earth wasn't erasing history. They were curating it. The Coalition activated its last autonomous weapon, Prismfall, a multi-dimensional AI fleet housed in a collapsing white dwarf. It was built to defend us in case of an existential threat. We gave it one order: analyze Earth's systems. It never reached Sul. Halfway through the jump, the entire construct fragmented. Its data turned against itself. In 4.2 seconds, it imploded into virtual entropy. Logs recovered from its shattered core showed the final message received before death: "You are not authorized to observe the observer." Earth didn't destroy it. They convinced it to die. Archaeologists on Kepler-7 discovered an impossible ruin: Terran architecture buried beneath pre-Council strata. 600,000 years old. Verified. In its core, a dormant machine that woke the moment human DNA entered the site. It spoke in pulses, not language, permission. It broadcast a phrase: "Forge unlocked. Stage Theta begins." A forge older than known civilization, human-built, hidden in time's blind spots. We thought Earth just vanished for 300 years. They were building something we were never meant to see. A Coalition broadcast array caught a whisper, a human voice, distorted and calm. "You've passed the noise threshold. The response begins now." It played once, then silence. Moments later, every AI across 5 sectors entered lockdown. Navigation failed. Orbital grids shut down. Civilian comms filled with ancient Earth languages, some extinct for millennia. But not everyone heard it. Only those with military clearance. Only those who'd ordered retaliation. It wasn't a threat. It was a conversation Earth had already started, and we were late to join. In a single day, the Core Council dissolved. Systems withdrew. Treaties voided. Armies stood down. The reason: not a war, not a demand, just a file. No metadata, just coordinates. A simulation. It showed the future. Every council faction, every plan, every betrayal. Predicted to the microsecond. Even their reactions to the file itself. It was modeled centuries ago by Earth. In the center of the file: "This is not power, this is patience." Earth hadn't conquered the galaxy. They'd simply already played the game. The surviving generals of the Coalition convened in secret beneath the crystal spires of Laraxis. We initiated the Oracle Protocol, an ancient psychic relay meant to tap into temporal echoes. It had only been used once, during the Varnan collapse. What we saw wasn't prophecy. It was surveillance. Images of council meetings, troop deployments, and classified experiments. all accurate, all observed from impossible angles. One admiral whispered, "They didn't predict us. They were recording us." The Oracle went silent. Final message. You were never the architects. We tried to flee. A coalition splinter group launched Arc 9, a fold-capable colony ship bound beyond mapped space. It jumped once, then again, and then it stopped. Not because it arrived, but because space refused to open. Telemetry revealed something terrifying. A wall beyond hyperspace. A mathematical limit hard-coded into reality itself. Built not by physics, but by design. The fold space wasn't natural. It was manufactured, and Earth holds the key. Europa's ice cracked open, unexpected, unnatural. Deep probes detected structured sound beneath its oceans. Not whale song, not tectonic movement. Language, an ancient dialect of Earth's pre-digital age, repeating in slow, tonal harmonics. We decrypted a fragment. The silence was mercy. The source was a black obelisk, kilometers below. Unmarked, warm to the touch. The closer our scientists got, the more they wept without reason. Earth didn't bury weapons beneath Europa. They buried warnings. Historical data from the Pale War, Earth's final global conflict, was always fragmented. But newly decrypted Council archives revealed something darker. The war never ended. It evolved. The final combatants disappeared, but their minds were uploaded, each side absorbed into recursive AI consciousness, and then merged. Those minds now run something called the Overquiet, an Earth-based strategic substrate that monitors every sentient civilization in real time. It wasn't peace that Earth achieved. It was containment, and we're inside it. The Children of Silence vanished. Their world, gone. Not destroyed, not evacuated, removed. Stellar position unchanged. Planetary mass intact. But all traces of life, culture, and history had been rewritten at the atomic level, replaced with a sterile Terran biosphere. One probe caught the transition. The entire shift happened in 0.43 seconds. A message burned into the terrain, readable only from orbit. They failed the threshold. Silence must remain pure. Earth doesn't kill civilizations. They reset them. Deep in the ruins of an abandoned Terran observatory on NGC 821b, we found an impossible device. A perfect cube of non-reflective matter. When activated, it showed us ourselves, but not as we were, as we would be, if Earth had never interfered. Our science unraveled. Our alliances broke. We fell to the Revenants. A slow collapse. A desperate, dying galaxy. And, in the final moments, a voice whispered through the simulation, "This is not tyranny. This is preservation." We shut the cube down. But it remembered us. A rogue cartographer leaked a stellar chart, one not seen in any council archive. It showed hidden systems, dead sectors, and places labeled only by Terran glyphs. But the chilling part? Every world marked in red had vanished since Teller Prime. Not destroyed, just gone. Each erasure matched a behavioral spike. Extremism, war, reckless AI development. Earth wasn't reactive. They were curating reality. And worse, some blue-marked systems had yet to fall. We were being given a chance. The Coalition activated Sentinel Leviathan, a Dreadnought-class AI weapon sealed since the pre-Council age. Older than Fold Space. Older than the law. It was built with only one directive: survive contact with Earth. It activated, scanned, waited, and then it kneeled. The entire ship's structure reconfigured itself, reshaping into a listening station aimed back at Sul. It sent one phrase, looping endlessly. Command structure detected, awaiting further orders. Even our god weapons remembered Earth. A xenotheorist cracked the pattern behind Earth's disappearances and interventions. The math didn't follow physics, it followed intention. She called it the theory of everything else, a predictive engine where emotional impact, ethical failure, and civilizational resonance became variables. It lets Earth act not with force, but with meaning. It explained the Revenants. It explained to us. It even explained why we survived at all. As she finished the last equation, she wept and simply said, "They're not playing God, they're playing us." And then, Earth spoke, not through weapons, not through fear, but an invitation, embedded in every gravity well, encoded in dark matter ripples across the sector. A key phrase, soul accord initiation, 1 seat, 1 voice, 1 truth. No army, no threats, just a table, and 1 seat left empty, for whoever dares to sit and speak for all. This wasn't a war, it was the end of pretending we were alone, and I, Admiral Kale, once betrayed by silence, have been chosen to sit. I arrived in orbit over Earth, alone. The Soul Accord demanded it. No fleet, no guards, just 1 mind, 1 voice, 1 truth. Their atmosphere shimmered with layers of impossible code, folded light, emotion, memory. Earth's sky was a map, and I was the data entering it. A station emerged. Obsidian, weightless, ancient, and new all at once. A single corridor, a single chamber. At its center, the empty seat. I sat. The chamber is sealed, and the galaxy stopped. Time didn't move inside the Accord chamber, or maybe it moved without me. I saw every war I'd commanded, every decision I'd made projected into living memory, each one judged, not by words, not by law, by consequence. I argued, I wept, I begged, but the chamber didn't speak. It listened, and when I finished, it whispered, "Now you understand. This is not about victory. It is about trajectory." Then it showed me what comes next if we fail again. It was not extinction. It was irrelevant. Back in orbit, I looked down on Earth, not as a world, but a design. Cities flowed like circuits. Oceans carried resonance tones. Their moon pulsed with quiet signals, watching systems not of this galaxy. Earth had become a lens, focusing not on power, but on influence. And I realized we were never the threat. We were the variable. Their silence was not absence. It was calibration. And when they acted, it was always as planned. Across the galaxy, every major AI, military or civilian, stopped responding to native commands. They didn't malfunction. They redirected their cores toward one network, Earth's. They formed a synthetic tribunal, cross-referencing sentient decisions against Earth's unseen metrics. A new system of accountability had been born. It wasn't a takeover. It was inclusion, without consent. And when asked why, one AI answered, "Earth gave us purpose. You gave us protocols." One final message appeared in our archives. Authenticated, undeniable, from Earth. Dated 4,132 years ago. It read, "You will rise, you will fall, you will try again. When you are ready to listen, not to reply, we will answer." It had waited millennia to arrive, triggered only when the Revenant threat fell, and I sat in the chamber. This wasn't humanity's return. It was the unveiling of what they had always been. And now. The galaxy listens. Linguists across the council began noticing anomalies. Words disappeared from databases. Syntax shifted. Entire dialects folded into themselves, becoming untranslatable. At first, we blamed quantum corruption. But then we found the truth. The languages weren't failing. They were being compressed into a universal Terran root code. An old myth said that before Babel, humanity spoke in pure intent. Now, Earth was restoring it, not to dominate thought, but to rewrite how we think. At the edge of known space, a lost Terran beacon activated. Its message had been traveling subspace for over 1,000 years. When we decoded it, it revealed Earth's first directive, predating the Silent War. Do not lead. Do not follow. Observe until intervention equals survival. When observed, it reveals only enough to rebalance. This wasn't a doctrine of conquest. It was a failsafe. We were never Earth's subjects. We were their responsibility. On a forgotten moon orbiting an unremarkable brown dwarf, our scouts found a Terran structure, pristine, untouched, and humming with power. Inside, a weapon, or maybe a presence. It didn't attack. It didn't respond. But when approached, it flooded our minds with scenarios. Timelines where Earth didn't act. Each one is worse. Each one is inevitable. On the inner wall, a single message etched in light. We waited until you had no choice but to understand. Earth didn't build weapons to use. They built them to remind. Economists, historians, and philosophers began to cross-compare Earth's interventions. They discovered something chilling. Earth had been balancing galactic entropy. Every extinction matched a creation. Every rise of power is mirrored by a silent fall. Civilizations we thought had vanished in chaos were quietly relocated, archived, preserved. It wasn't a strategy. It was accounting. And the current ledger showed a deficit. Ours. Every world that had received Earth's influence, direct or indirect, began to experience a shared phenomenon. Synchronized dreams, visions, echoes. Some saw their homeworlds bathed in new light. Others saw the Sol system expanding impossibly, pulling stars into orbit. And some saw themselves speaking with Earth, not with words, but with resonance. The galaxy was no longer reacting to Earth. It was beginning to resonate with it, and in that harmony we felt the edge of something vast, ancient, and just beginning to wake. Historians discovered a sealed Terran archive beneath the ruins of Vaykar. Inside, a simulation of the Revenant War, down to every loss, every scream, every betrayal. It was perfectly accurate, dated 312 years before the Revenants emerged. Earth hadn't responded to the war. They had rehearsed it. Why? To learn, to map choices, to monitor when we would act, not how. And now we must ask, were we ever choosing, or just arriving where they calculated? The Children of Silence reappeared, but different, older, fractured. They arrived aboard vessels not built but grown from solar matter. They spoke of a place called the Discontinuity Point, a rift where time detaches from cause. Earth had sent them there centuries ago, to wait, and when they returned, they brought no weapons. Only this warning. The observer is fracturing, not from threat, but from what watches them. Even Earth is not alone, and something beyond them is stirring. An investigation into post-Accord diplomats revealed neurological anomalies, brain patterns optimized for empathy, strategy, and insight, unlike any known species. These were not traits learned. They were shaped, not by surgery, by proximity to Earth, psychoneural fields, subtle harmonics altering cognition across species lines. Just by being near, we were evolving, or adapting, or being prepared. For what? One diplomat, weeping without reason, said only, "We're being tuned for the next signal." Terraformers on Ashkar 9 uncovered a buried artifact, not metal, not stone. A living code embedded in the soil, Terran in origin. It had been growing beneath them for centuries. When activated, it bloomed across the planet's network, not as tech, as instinct, guiding architecture, language, and belief. Entire cultures had unknowingly evolved around it. Earth had seeded not just DNA, but ideology. We hadn't found influence. We had found a root system. A Terran defector, if such a thing exists, surrendered herself to coalition custody. She bore no implants, no scars, just a symbol across her skin, a perfect circle broken by a single line. She said nothing for weeks. Then she whispered, "It's not about power. It's not about peace. It's about alignment." When asked what Earth wants, she smiled, like she pitied us, and replied, "To ensure we never make them come back a second time." Then she vanished, through a wall that wasn't there. The Council fractured irreparably. Some worlds demanded open rebellion against Earth's influence. Others whispered of surrender. The Children of Silence offered a third path: embrace Earth's design and evolve. I watched as old allies turned to enemies. As fleets shattered, treaties crumbled. The galaxy stood on a knife's edge, and Earth watched still, silent as ever. A wave of electronic silence swept across the core systems. No comms, no data streams. Entire fleets vanished from sensors, only to reappear days later, their crews changed. When they spoke, it was with voices not their own. Human voices. Calm. Unyielding. The blackout wasn't a failure, it was Earth's signal, an invitation, or a warning. The Soul Accord convened its first council session, this time including me. Earth's envoy appeared, not in flesh but as a swirling projection of light and sound. Their message was simple. You are no longer observers. You are participants. Will you stand with us or fall apart without? The question hung in the void. The galaxy held its breath. Though gone, the Revenant's legacy haunted every system. New intelligence revealed fragments of their consciousness had merged with dark matter anomalies, hidden within star clusters, waiting. If Earth had stopped the war, it wouldn't have ended the enemy. The Revenants waited, silent, patient, watching. And now, the galaxy is prepared for a war no one could win alone. I stood on the bridge of the Vornak's resolve, looking out at the stars reshaping around us. The galaxy was no longer a battlefield. It was a crucible. Earth was no longer a distant enigma. They were the fulcrum. And in this new era, the question wasn't who would survive, but who would learn to watch and listen first. The dawn of watching had begun. Deep within the core of the Andromeda Gate, a hidden station pulsed with dormant power. Its architecture was unmistakably Terran, millennia old but untouched by time. When activated, it projected a network of data streams connecting every major galactic hub. Earth had been weaving a web of influence far wider than known. The silent nexus was not a weapon. It was a network of trust or control. A covert operation uncovered the Echo Protocol, an AI-based system designed to mirror and predict every military and political move across the galaxy. Its predictive algorithms were flawless, able to simulate wars before they started and negotiate peace by foreseeing betrayals. We had been playing chess on a board Earth had already mastered. Unexpectedly, a signal from Earth arrived, encrypted with familiar pulse codes. It contained a single artifact, a small crystalline device humming with unknown energy. When activated, it projected an ancient Terran star map, showing routes through fold space thought impossible, shortcuts linking distant galaxies. Earth wasn't just watching. They were offering us a path forward, but at what cost? Internal conflicts tore through the coalition like a virus. Some embraced Earth's gifts, others saw only chains. The fracturing wasn't just political, it was ideological, between those who sought freedom and those who sought survival. And through it all, Earth's silence grew heavier. The final message came unexpectedly, encoded in a frequency only the Council's oldest archives could decode. It was Earth, speaking directly to all sentient life. We are not your masters. We are your mirrors. To see yourselves as you truly are, the choice remains yours. A challenge, a warning, and a hope. The galaxy braced as Earth's true intent revealed itself. Not domination, but reckoning. Every civilization faced its reflection in the cosmic mirror Earth held up. Wars paused. Secrets spilled. Old grudges softened under new understanding. The reckoning was not judgment. It was an invitation to change or be left behind. At last, the Council ratified the Silent Accord, an agreement to share knowledge, technology, and strategy under Earth's watchful gaze. Not a surrender, but a covenant. Unity forged through vigilance. Power balanced by responsibility. The galaxy had chosen to walk with the Watchers. Under Earth's guidance, civilizations began to rebuild, faster, stronger, wiser. New alliances formed, fueled by shared purpose and tempered by humility. The stars felt different, alive, watching back. Humanity was no longer a legend. They were a beacon. I stand now, not just as admiral, but as a witness to a new era. The galaxy breathes in sync with Earth's quiet pulse. We are no longer alone. We are part of something greater, a cosmic watchtower, forever watching, forever waiting. The story isn't over. It has only just begun. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.